Today we're going to talk about how to take the Robinhood data that we got. I talked about in a prior video how to get the CSV data from Robinhood for your trades. So today we're going to look at how to format the CSV file that you get for the options to read it, basically. So pull this up here. This is what you get when you download it, and pretty hard to read. So I'm doing a lot of iron condors, and these are contracts that have 4 different legs to them. When you're doing multi-legged option contracts, it can be a little difficult to read. So I typed up some instructions on how to do it, and largely this is for myself, but if anyone's watching and you do something similar, this is for credit spreads, debit spreads, and iron condor, stuff like that. If you do that, hopefully this can help you out in trying to figure out what your gain and loss is for the week. So I'm going to scroll through this document here, and you can pause it if you'd like to read it. So that's the document with the instructions. So I'm going to move this over here, and then I'm going to walk through how to do it from this file folder. So step 1, we're going to save this as something that's not a CSV, just a normal Excel workbook. Because CSVs, if you've ever worked with them, they are not, you can't do formatting on them. So many times I've gone to format a CSV and done, spent an hour formatting it, and then you go to save it, and then you open it back up, and everything's gone. And it's a learning experience. So let's see, we're going to save it. I'm going to save it here. This is the one I was using to figure this stuff out. So we're going to name this 2. All right, now that that's done, we're going to take this data and convert it to a table. Going to go insert table. All right, step 3, we got a couple of things we need to do. We got to format this. So the first thing you probably notice is that this is a mess. So what this is we got the order date, and then it has the time in hours, minutes, seconds, and milliseconds, all the way to 6 decimal places, and then a Z at the end that stands for Zulu time. That's what the time is on these things. So we're going to have to convert it to whatever time zone we're in, or if we want to just do the normal market hours, we can do Eastern Standard Time. I'm in the East Coast, so we're going to do Eastern Standard Time. So, but the first thing to do is we got to get the date and the time out of here. So we're going to go data, text to columns. Sorry, before I do this, got to add a column here. And then data, text to columns, delimiter. The delimiter we're going to use, this is where it separates it out. We're going to use T at first. We're going to hit finish. That's going to move it over to the right there. So now we got our date. So now we also need to remove, all we really need is the hours and the minutes. So we're going to remove everything after that. So we're going to insert another column. We're going to do the same thing. Text to columns, delimiter. Now I'm going to change the delimiter to the period. Next, finish. All right, I get rid of this stuff here. Now this is going to be in the format of hours, minutes, and seconds. We're going to copy this. We're going to go up to, you can do this 2 ways. You can either go home, click on this little guy here, and it brings you up to that, or you can right click on it, go down to format cells. We're going to go to custom, and then we're going to find the one that says hours, minutes, and then AM, PM. Okay, so there's that. Now we want to convert it to Eastern Standard Time. So currently it's May 17th. Eastern Standard. The difference between Eastern Standard Time and Zulu time is 4 hours. So that's what we're going to do, and bring this back over here. Type this up here to sort of show what you're looking, formula that you're going to need. In order to subtract 4 hours, you can't just do -4. You have to do -4 over 24. So non-daylight savings time, I'm not sure if that changes or not. From what I can read, Zulu doesn't observe daylight savings time, so something to be aware of in the December to February time frame. But for now, we're going to use daylight savings time. So we're going to subtract this -4 over 24. That gives us that. And so now what we have to do is we got to copy, we're going to highlight, select all of these, then we're going to copy them, Control C, and we're going to paste only the text. So we're going to Control Alt V, and then hit V again for values, then enter. That's going to change it from a formula to the text values. So now we're safe. We can get rid of this column over here. And we're going to change this to something that we can recognize. So order time. That takes care of the time. Second thing we need to do is we need to merge these two together here. So I'm going to create a new column. I'm going to do enter, concat, and this merges the two text columns together. So since the one column is always going to be blank, we can do this and it'll put these on the same row. So I'm going to name this strategy. Next, what we're going to do is, okay, so we're going to delete these as well. And next, okay, so that's what happens when you don't do the thing that I just talked about. So we're going to highlight all of these, Control C, Control Alt V, values, enter. Now we're safe to delete all this. You can also do that when you have that selected. You can go highlight it, and then when you copy it, come out here, right click, and then you can hit this little clipboard 1, 2, 3. Paste that. Don't want that though. All right. So next thing we're going to do is so this is the price of the option, the credit spread when we sell it. I'm selling credit spreads. So we want to see the total though, because this is 0.21 per contract. We have 4 contracts here. So we're going to hit equals this times this. We're going to change this to total premium. All right, takes care of that. And then we got one more thing. And the big issue here is you can see that we have for each credit spread, we have a buy and a sell, which is correct. But really all we care about here is the sell, because that's what when we sell a credit spread, that's sort of we want the price of the stock to stay either below or above that price. The other one doesn't really matter. So to simplify this, we're going to get rid of all of this and just have one single line item. So I'm going to come out here, if, and so if so this is the credit and the debit column. The credit means we've opened the credit spread, and the debit means we've closed the credit spread, we've sold it. So if we have a credit, then we want to show the sell side, and if we have a debit, we're going to show the buy side. We're doing this so that we can match up the strike price to the credits and the debits. So you can see here, let me see if I can find an example here. Okay, right here. Oops. All right. Get rid of this. So this is where I opened it and closed it. So on the sell, the 575 is the strike, and then obviously when I close it, I just do the reverse. So I bought back that 575. So this formula, what we're doing is because the price on both of these lines are the same, it doesn't really matter as far as price is concerned, but it does matter for the strike price because when we go to do the pivot table next, we're going to need these to match up. So anyway, it's just a little explanation. The formula, I'm just going to copy and paste this in. You can look at it. That's the formula there. So that's step 3. Now step 4, we're going to filter the data. So we're going to get rid of all these things that say false. I'm going to choose only the show the X's. And then we're also going to choose our time frame that we want to look at under the order created at. So I want to see only last week. I have and also the May 6th. So it's going to pop up, and now that's right there is the action for the days that we chose. So this is all of our day trading action in 5, 6, 5, 10, 5, whatever. In this situation, I want to look at Tesla, only Tesla, and analyze that. So I'm going to choose that, Tesla. Let's see how many that is. 24, yeah, it's on the money. Okay. And you can filter anything else you want as well. You can see, you can use this for a lot of different things. If you want to look at, like, what time am I profiting at the most? It's going to be a little more difficult because the way it's set up here is it's not hourly. For our purposes, though, we're only really looking at trying to get an idea of how I do for the week. So let's see, that's step 4. Step 5, I'm going to take this and copy and paste this into a new sheet. The reason is because the filter doesn't remove the other columns, it just hides them. So we want to remove it. It's going to be Control C, Control V, and then we're going to come up here to Insert Pivot Table, Existing Worksheet. We're going to do it right below here. That's going to bring up a pivot table for this data. The structure that we want to move the order created at down here to the filters. Under the columns, we want the direction. So, yeah. Rows, strike price, expiration date, and then strategy. And then the values, what we want to look at is we want to look at the total premium and then also the quantity of contracts. And the quantity is just going to make sure that we don't have any open contracts. So once this pops up here, we want to format it a little bit. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to expand this out so that we can see all of these. Second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here, let's see, design. I'm going to find one that just is a little more friendly on the eyes here. So there's that. I'm also, while I'm here, this is step 8, but I'm going to go ahead and do this anyway. I'm going to turn off the row total. So I only want to see the total for the columns. Then I'm also going to turn off the subtotals. All right, now I'm going to show the total gain. So I'm going to come over here, total gain loss. Unfortunately, this is the only way I know how to do this, because when you do the totals, it adds these things up. We need to just subtract them. So it's not perfect, but you'll have to do some formatting if you want to change it. But it's good enough for what I'm doing. We'll come over here now. You can't click on this because it's going to pop this thing up right here, and you're not going to be able to drag it down. So we're going to have to do a direct cell reference. We're going to do equals. We're going to find this C36 minus E36. It's going to be good. Now, what's going to happen is when we drag this down, it's going to populate a bunch of zeros. Okay, we don't want that. So we're going to have to do an if statement to get rid of those. So if this formula equals 0, then don't show anything. Otherwise, show the value of C36 minus E36. Copy that down. There's that, and then we copy it over, copy it down. Then what we can do is we can make this into dollars, and we can multiply it by 100, since that would give us a more realistic idea of how much money we made. Okay, so this shows that for last week, Tesla, I made 471. You can see the activity here. And you can see the big thing here is this one that's open. And so I think what happened was I went to close both. I took out 2 contracts and I went to close. I know I closed both of them by the end of the week, but it shows only 1. So I think it's just sort of an error on Robinhood's part. It's supposed to be 2. It's a $5 difference, so it's not that big of a deal. I'm going to ignore it. But if you had something that was maybe, $100 or something, you'd want to know that Robinhood got it wrong. So that's what this does. It makes sure that we've gotten every contract on the data. So that is how you do that. Let's see if we can try to adjust this a little bit. I haven't tried this before, so I'm going to take away, and I'm only going to show Tesla and PLTR. Come over here and copy, and let's see how this would work. I'll pause this and I'll be back with you. Alright, so what I've done is I changed this to a table. So what we can do is we can come in over here and change this primary sheet and then copy it over into this table. And once it's copied over into that table, come up here and pivot table, analyze, and hit refresh. That'll get it to refresh. Now, the issue is in this total gain loss, because it's not a part of this pivot table, it's not going to automatically update. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to come up here and then sort of like edit this and drag it around, unfortunately. But anyway, that's how you can change this to show the different data. And now, even if, so I've now brought in Tesla, PLTR, Peloton, and Roku. Even if I bring all this in and then I say I just want to see Tesla now, I can come see what I can do. I can go change symbol, and choose on Tesla, that would just show me Tesla. So anyway, that is how you do